Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Mike Francesa podcast on the Mike Francesa channel, on the Bet Rivers Network, on YouTube, on this Friday evening as we move into the merry month of May. Um, and obviously, the first Saturday in May always is where they contest the Kentucky Derby. The most exciting 2 minutes in American sport, one of the great sporting events. And as I've told you many times, um, there is no sporting event that I've ever gone to that had that kind of attendance, 150,000, and I've been there multiple times. Uh, that is run as well. You're at the track, and you can go to the windows. You can do anything that you would do on a normal day at the racetrack. Now, it's not. If you go to American tracks on a normal day, it's not very crowded. Okay, but let's say a normal day at Saratoga, which is a very busy, active place on every day of that Saratoga meet. The Derby handles crowds, parking, people moving around, food, bedding, whatever, better than anything I've ever seen. It's remarkable. I've never seen a big event run as well as the Derby is run. They are very, very good at it, and people have a very good time when they go. But I've said that I would not go back unless I uh, had a horse in the race, and uh, that hasn't happened. So I thought we had one with High Oak until the fall in the Fountain of Youth. You got to be good, and you got to be lucky. Look at the Florida Derby winner this year. Comes up with a condylar fracture. Okay, you scratch horses out. Rapoli scratched his horse out today, or Pletcher did. Grande is out. Um, Everything has to be perfect. You have to come up to the race in the right conditioning. You have to be healthy. Nothing can go wrong. And then you got to get in the race where they don't ever have another race contested where you have this many horses. And you have horses who haven't been this far, who have never dealt with this kind of noise level that they're going to get when they come onto the track. And the traffic problems that is inherent in that big a field, they will never face that big a field again, ever. And it makes a big difference. Trip and racing luck are very, very important. You can get behind a tiring horse as a live closer and not have a chance. I mean, that's what happens. You have to get a clean trip. You have to get a good trip. And jockey is, uh, I think, more important in this race than at any time, anywhere, anytime. Um, a couple things. Number one, there is no question. If you watch the Oaks this afternoon, and Good Cheer continued to dominate the class, it was run over a sloppy track. There is a 100% chance of rain. There is very little chance, probably close to zero, that the race is not conducted over either a muddy, which would be a drying out track that is not raining at the moment, or a sloppy, which would be a track that is taking rain or has just taken rain. There's a very good chance that happens tomorrow. They're different tracks, they're different surfaces. Um, there are all different surfaces, and tracks are different. And you have to watch for early tomorrow if you are someone who doesn't wager a lot. Check out if the horses are winning in the earlier races on the rail or away from the rail. Because tonight they sealed the track so that it's completely rolled and the water rolls off it. Any water that'll come in before noon tomorrow will all roll off it. Then they'll start harrowing the track for the first, 11 o'clock tomorrow because they have races. But as soon as they have races, they'll start harrowing the track tomorrow. And then if it rains during that day, then there's nothing they can do about it during that time. Now, um, but one part of the track can be, again, something that's very important for the jockey. Now, a couple things: wet track, sloppy track, muddy track is going to be number one. Number two, Bob Baffert's back. Okay, Baffert had been ruled off at Churchill, was not allowed to enter the Derby the last couple of years. There's been lawsuits, there's been all kinds of controversy, but he's back. He was back with a tandem of Citizen Bull, who has the rail and a lot of speed, and Rodriguez, but Rodriguez scratched, which allowed Baeza, a horse from the West Coast trained by the very talented John Sheriffs, into the race, and a horse that definitely bears some watching. Sheriffs is not going to bring a horse here that is not meant to run well. That's just the way he is. So Baffert's back. You have a fairly heavy favorite in journalism. I wouldn't call him in any way unbeatable. He profiles as the favorite. There have been 3 horses who have gotten 100 in their speed figure and their buyer number in this race. The only one to do it more than once is journalism. Journalism broke its maiden. It's a California horse, curling. You know, a lot of times these horses are curling. They are Justify. They are into Mischief, who has become an incredibly talented sire. Really has an amazingly talented sire. Tappett's another one that's produced a lot. So you see a lot of, but especially a lot of Curlins and especially a lot of Into Mischief in the race. Journalism trained by Mike McCarthy. Only race it lost was his first race at Santa Anita. A lot of times trainers do not crank up their horse for their first start. So never be in any way deterred by a horse not winning its first time out, because a lot of times they're not supposed to win their first time out. Came back at second time, easy maiden winner, ran in the grade 2. The Futurity won it, ran in the San Felipe, which is a prep for the Santa Anita Derby, won it with a good number, and then turned around and won the Santa Anita Derby over Baeza, who is the horse that Sheriffs brings in. He is a stalker, which means he's not going to be first or second out of the gate, but he's going to make the race, because when he moves, he's going to look from the 8 to take off and find a position, drop in 4th, 5th, somewhere around there, judge the pace. Is it real fast? He waits. Is it not real fast? He goes. When journalism makes his move, that will set up the entire movement of the race. That horse is the horse that everyone will be pointing to, and that horse is a stalker. So he's going to make a move somewhere around the 6 furlong mark, unless it's very slow. He'll make his move with 6 furlongs to go and start up and look to take command of the race around the turn. He won't have the lead. He won't be far back. He likes to lay 2-3 lengths off the pace. He'll be looking to get a spot on the rail or save some ground if he can. Not always the easiest thing to do, but find a spot to drop in on and go from there. As always, there are a lot of dead closes, and the closes profile very well. If you want a horse that profiles as a Derby horse, I'll give you 2, and they're both the second and third choices. Sandman is the second choice. I think he should be the third choice. I think Sovereignty Mott's horse should be the second choice. That's a Godolphin Mott horse. Godolphin has 1,000,000 horses. They probably are the premier owners in the world. But he's never won a Derby. He's won races all over the world of every shape and size and significance, but he's never won it. Godolphin's never won a Derby. So that's something they covet very much, and they have a very good chance with this son of Into Mischief. Now, what you like about Sovereignty is a dead closer. He's trained by Bill Mott. Bill Mott has never made the Triple Crown his obsession. Trains all kinds of horses, turf, classic horses, had the classic cigar, as you know. Okay, Hall of Fame trainer. He trains for us. He's very close to my racing partner, Leon Slider. They're very close friends. He's clearly one of the great trainers, but he has never made the Triple Crowns his obsession like some guys have. The only Derby he's ever won, he won on a disqualification. He has a legitimate. This is, I think, the best Derby horse he's ever had. This horse checks every box. Is he the kind of closer you want at Churchill Downs? Yes. Has he raced at Churchill Downs? Yes. He won a stake at Churchill Downs as a 2-year-old. And if it's interesting, he beat Tastic, who is in this race, and Sandman, who's the second choice in this race. Beat them by 5 lengths in the Street Sense last year. He then waited for the Fountain of Youth, which he won, coming from way back, and finished second in the Florida Derby, where he clearly was out to get a piece of the race to ensure him into the Derby, but was not looking to squeeze the lemon, as a great old trainer once said, and has been used a million times. You don't want to squeeze the juice from the lemon too early. You want to have it when you want it for that proper race. This is the day you squeeze the lemon. Okay. Now, he also, in what's going to be a muddy track, has never raced on one, but he's bred to like it. He's got a very, very high mud mark for breeding. Doesn't always ensure that they love it, but it's the best indicator you're going to have when a lot of these horses have never run. Breeding plays into horses that like getting off track. It just does. Now, he also is training superbly. He's already won at Kentucky. It's very important in racing that horses like the track they're at. Some horses just don't like winning on certain tracks. Some horses just don't feel comfortable. A lot of horses that go up to Saratoga and just blossom. They love it up there. They train great at Oklahoma. They run great on the track. It happens a lot. You see it at all different tracks. But I've had a horse that was a really good horse that didn't like Kentucky. Didn't race well in Kentucky. Okay. It happens. This horse has won over this course. Check. He's got the connections. Check. Big time owner, big time trainer. Check. Good solid jock in Junior Alvarado. Check. Now, he's going to be back a long way, which means he's going to need racing luck. Alvarado is going to have to pick the right path at the right time. That's part of coming off the pace. He's not going to be in the first group. He's not going to be in the second group. He's got post 18 when they call the horses the first time. He's going to be at the absolute back of the pack. He'll be one of the 3 last horses. Okay, that's not a big deal. There's enough speed in this race to keep it honest. There's not I don't expect an insane pace, but I don't expect a slow one either. But the key won't be the start. The key will be when journalism moves. Now, Sandman comes out of the Arkansas Derby, which he won, came off the pace. He came, there are different avenues to the Derby. You can come through New York, which used to be the most popular way. It's not anymore. And come through the Wood Memorial. The Florida way is through the Fountain of Youth and then Florida Derby. In California, it's running in the San Felipe and then into the Santa Anita Derby. Oaklawn, you run in the Rebel Stakes. Well, if you do all three, you run Southwest, Rebel Stakes, Arkansas Derby. That's out of Oaklawn Park. You come up through the fairgrounds. You can come from Tampa, or you can wait and run in the Bluegrass. There are different ways to get into the race. You get in on points. You have to race in one of these races. Every one of these horses comes out of one of these races as an example. I'll just give you that as an example. Citizen Bull ran fourth in the Santa Anita Derby. Nearcross ran third in the Florida Derby. Final Gambit, which is a lightly raced horse, broke his maiden on his third try, ran in the Grade 3 JR Stakes, and qualified for this race. Should be a big long shot, but because Brad Cox is the trainer and the horse is a well-bred animal because he's a Juddmonte horse, this horse will actually be considered, and this horse could be a late closer. Rodriguez scratched. American Promise, which comes out of the Risen Star at the fairgrounds and then went to the Virginia Derby at Colonial. Won that running away. You have two Japanese horses that came out of either California. Not California. Came out of either the Far East, Luxor Cafe, and Admire Daytona came out of the Middle East. So they come from, and they have not raced here. Luxor Cafe looks like a dangerous horse. I just don't know how to judge the Japanese horses. They've come here and run well before. I'm not going to, if I get beat by them, I'm going to tip my cap. But Admire Daytona, I don't think is going to be a big deal. I do think Luxor Cafe could be an issue. Journalism won the Santa Anita Derby. 2 for 2 this year. Only lost his first race. Has won his last 4 races impressively. Burnham Square won the Bluegrass. Flying Mohawk came out of the JR Stakes race, the Grade 3. I'd be surprised if he runs big here. East Avenue came out of the Bluegrass, which he lost by a nose to Burnham Square. Publisher came out of the Arkansas Derby, where he was second to Sandman. Tiz Tastic came out of the Louisiana Derby, which he won. Render Judgment came out of the Bluegrass. I don't think he's got a lot of a chance either. Coal Battle finished third in the Arkansas Derby. Sandman won the Arkansas Derby. Sovereignty finished second in the Florida Derby. The Florida Derby winner, as I told you, Tappan Street fractured a conjurer bone and is not here. Chunk Gold came out of the Louisiana Derby, finished second. Owen Almighty came out of the Bluegrass, and Baeza came out of the Santa Anita Derby, where he finished second to Journalism. Ran 101 buyer. Is trained by John Sheriffs. Is a horse that cost $1.2 million. Bears some watching. Would not be surprised if he ran well. Was the also eligible horse, is in the race, and like I said, is a dangerous horse because of the trainer and because the horse clearly, lightly raced. 3 maiden races into the Santa Anita Derby. That jump from a maiden race into the Santa Anita Derby means that Sheriff saw something he really liked. And the fact that that horse is here tells you the Sheriff was impressed. He would not send that horse here unless he meant business. He didn't come just to race. That's not him. He didn't do that. So that horse is deserving. Now, the speeds of Citizen Bull and New York West. You had Rodriguez, which was also a Baffert horse, that scratched. Outside, you have some horses that will go. Owen Almighty will go. He'll go up early. The East Avenue will look for early positioning. He's got to run first or second early. And I'm not sure how Baez is going to play it. He could also look to go up early. He's definitely got that ability, but he could also take the stalker trip. I don't think he wants to be far back, but I don't think he has to have the lead. I expect Baffert's horse. I expect the 1 and the 2 to be on the front of the race, the first call. I'd be very surprised if they weren't, or right there pushing the pace. Like I said, the key is going to be when the 8 goes. Journalism clearly looks the part. No question about it. His breeding says that he will also be solid on an off-track situation. That does hold up. It is not foolproof. Now, horses in this race that have won over off tracks. The course did, but wasn't in a stake race. Final Gambit did, but it was on a synthetic track, so it doesn't count. The Japanese horse, Luxor Cafe, has run on an off track and has won on an off track. The horse is dangerous. I just don't know what to make of him. It's hard for me to equate. His races are very good. He's 4 for 6 lifetime. Their horses have come here and trained well before. I have trouble using them. If there's a horse that could upset the apple cart as of style, I think it's Wayne Lucas and the Ageless Wonder. Wayne Lucas is in this race. And you take Wayne Lucas at his own, at your own expense, because I can't tell you how many times in my life I've seen Wayne Lucas put a horse in a race and say, why is he putting that horse in this race only to see him standing there in the winner's circle? Okay. The man has been doing races his whole life, and he is an amazing trainer. I don't expect this horse to do anything, but like I said, with Wayne Lucas, you always take the horse seriously because it's Wayne Lucas. Now, this horse, like all Wayne Lucas horses, have you scratching your head. This horse took 6 tries to break its maiden, so you're figuring that kind of horse not running the Derby. He goes and he runs in the Southwest. He doesn't run well. He goes and he runs in the Risen Star. Doesn't run well. He puts him in the Virginia Derby, and he wins it by 7 lengths. And you say, what? Now he's got the secret? Hey, the horse is trained very fast. The horse has won over a sloppy track, and the horse does have the ability to go to the front if he wants to. This is a horse that could upset the whole apple cart here as far as pace goes. American Promise from the 5. Do I think he wins this race? No. But do I think he could upset things and rattle things a little bit? He could. Now, I'm picking Sovereignty, not because of my relationship with Mott, although I know how good a trainer Mott is, and I know the horse has been training very well. That's not the reason. The reason I'm picking him is I always look for the classic closer. I don't bet speed. If I get beat by speed, which has happened at times in the Derby, I move on. If somebody wires the field, which doesn't happen often at the Derby, but when it happens, you know I'm not on them. I bet closers. And my whole deal is, and I have been incredibly fortunate in the Derby. I have made more money on this race than any other race I've ever dealt with. I never win in the Breeders' Cup. Never. I've never made a big hit in the Breeders' Cup. I have had countless hits in the Derby. And I do it by finding a horse I like to win, and I don't worry about his price. In this case, he's actually right now a very generous 9-1. If he's there, he's a steal at 9-1. I think he'll be more like 6-1 or 5-1. But if he's 9-1, you can bet I'll be betting him. I'm gonna bet him anyway. But what I look to do is find my long shot exactas. It's the one day I will bet a couple of superfectas and a couple of triples. So that will make me bring journalism and Sandman into my seconds and thirds and fourths just on my triple tickets and my superfecta tickets. Okay. I have hit the superfecta. I have hit the triple. And I usually don't bet triples, but I do in the Derby. I look for long shots for second. So my first horse, my winner, last year I gave you $31 winner, and I missed the exacta. I can tell you, I had a good bet on the winner at $31, but I did not hit the exacta. I missed the exacta. I shouldn't have, but I did. But I did give you a $31 winner last year on the Derby. So Sovereignty, the 18 is my pick to win the race. He's won over the course, which is important to me. He's training very well at Churchill, which I have to hear or I won't go with a horse. If I don't hear a horse is doing well there, I'm not betting him. He's doing well there. He's won there. I know he's trained. I know he hasn't missed any training. I know he's trained superbly. He's got he can, the one thing that scares you is the trip. Hey, that's up to the jock to get himself a clean trip in this race. He's got a closer. He's going to be coming in the stretch. Is he compromised by the track? I'd rather it was muddy than sloppy because then it would be a little speed tiring. But it is what it is. I'm not going to worry about the track. Sovereignty is my pick to win it. Now, like I said, if you're playing exotics, you can never throw out the first and second choices. Play them in your exotics. Whether you're playing 50 cent, listen, the playoffs here are always generous. You can bet 50 cent triples. You can bet 10 cent superfectas. If you hit, you'll still make a good buck. The prices are usually very, very generous in this race. Now, where am I going for my long shot second horse? Okay. My first one of these horses, I will use Final Gambit a little bit for second. Not a lot, but a little bit because it will be an astronomical uh exacta. He'll be a big, big price. I would use him. I think he's much improved. I think he's improved so much that he opened Cox's eyes. I don't think Cox had any idea of sending this horse to the Derby, and then all of a sudden, boom, this horse just started improving by leaps and bounds. I mean, this horse was a maiden in the middle of February. They're not thinking Derby, folks. There's not a lot of places to go at that point. That's why they're in the JR Stakes race. And they win that from they got bumped, they got knocked sideways, they got bothered, and they still won the thing going away because it's not the same class as these animals. But this horse is improving, and he could be running for second. Okay. I am spooked by Luxor Cafe. I will use him a little bit for second. I'm afraid not to. Burnham Square is a definite number 2 horse. Burnham Square is a definite number 2 horse. I will come back with the exacta from the Street Sense last year. Tis Tastic, number 14. Again, this will be a big exacta. I will use him from the 14. So, Final Gambit, Luxor Cafe, Burnham Square, Tis Tastic. And then you sprinkle in for second and third, you utilize Journalism and Sandman. Journalism deserves to be put in the second and third slots. You can even put him in for a win just so you don't get burnt by him. But I'm keying everything around Sovereignty, and I'm trying to get a long second choice. Then I'll bring everybody else back in the third spot. Okay. If there's another one that I would use that's a real long shot, I think Baez is going to get caught up on the pace, but this horse bothers me. So I would honor him by making sure I use him a little bit also. And if I have another long shot where I'm worried about second and I want to have a horse that's going to close, I would utilize Cold Battle also I'm going to be looking at the board there and see who those numbers are. And those horses that I think can run, I'm going to be using behind Sovereignty basically 6 or 7 horses for second in differing degrees. And I'll do it based on my value, where I get the best price. You look at the exacta prices, the ones that knock you out with a $300 and $350 and $400. Those are the ones that I zero in on the board. I will not play him in every spot. I won't wheel him. Would I make a win bet on Sovereignty? I will if he's more than 5-1. I will make a win bet on him. If not, I'll just play him in the second in exotics. But I think he will probably be 6-1 if I had to guess. Right now, he's 9-1 in the third choice. Sandman's the second choice, and I think Sovereignty should be the second choice. I understand Journalism should be the favorite. He deserved that. But Sovereignty is my pick, and I gave you my guys. If you said to me, Mike, just give me one guy for second, I don't want to bet a lot of things, then I would go The two long ones, I would go Tistastic and Final Gambit for second, and they will both be bomb shots. But if I give you a 9-1 on top, and and Sandman and journalism jumps in and finishes second, you're going to kick yourself if you didn't put a couple bucks on it. Or you can just forget the exotics and just bet Sovereignty to win, or just bet one or two horses. You can do it any way you want. I'm 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 not cashing a ticket if Sovereignty doesn't win. I mean, he could finish second, and I could cash the ticket. I'll always have a little I always have a little back wheel action, so that if he gets beaten those by a 50-1 shot, I want to have the exacta. So I will play him in first and second a little bit. So you see, you always save a little portion. Like I said, the numbers are going to be very good, so there's value in these wages. And if you don't want to bet triples, don't bet them. But if you do, or you want to bet superfectas, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, you can bet those for a dime. So think about it. You can bet them for a dime. You can make 10 of those wages for $1. Now you're not getting the whole payoff, but you know what? You're still getting a nice price. So Sovereignty is my guy in the Derby. Now, a couple of things. I'm not gonna analyze the Knicks and Celtics yet. We got plenty of time. If you're not familiar with the setup for the series yet, it starts Monday night in Boston. Game 2 is Wednesday night in Boston. Game 3 is Saturday. We don't know what time in New York. Game 4 is Monday night at the Garden. Game 5 is Wednesday, if needed. Game 5 in Boston. Game 6 would be Friday night in New York. Game 6. And Game 7 would be Monday night back in Boston. So the series begins on Monday. It would be played out over 2 weeks if it went 7 games. The odds makers do not believe that it will be played over 7 games. The Bet Rivers line right now, the Celtics are minus 835. Now, this is where I always thought the odds makers were very unfair. I always thought the splits were unfair here. There should be some real rule. There's no reason that they should pay out 835. They should get 835, but only pay out 550. I don't. Should they get some breakage? Yes. They shouldn't have to pay out 835 and take in 835, but you should get at least 750 if you win, not 550. The split is way too much, and I've always found that outrageous. You don't care if you win the 550, but still, I've always found that outrageous how big the split is. Now, so the Knicks, according to Bet Rivers, are plus 550. I think the Knicks are a good bet at plus 550. I wouldn't make it. Do I think the Knicks will win this series? I do not. That's all I'll say right now. I will tell you this, though. I think they have a tremendous chance to win Game 1. They get 8.5 points in Game 1, and I think Game 1 will be very close. I think Game 1 will set up very well for the Knicks. Now, the biggest adjustments are always made between Games 1 and 2 in a series. I think the Knicks can surprise them. I think also the Celtics will have had probably too much time off. I like the Knicks in Game 1. Now, do I like them in the series? I listen. It's not a surprise that the Celtics are such an overwhelming favorite. And the Knicks right now, if you want to pick them to win the championship, the latest odds on the playoffs right now at Bet Rivers, the latest odds to win the championship at the present time. Okay. The Thunder are plus 140. They're the favorites. This is the Bet Rivers odds to win the title. The Celtics are plus 175, which I think is wrong because I think Cleveland's better than the Celtics. But we'll see. Cleveland is plus 450. Then it jumps outrageously. So it's plus 140 for OKC, plus 175 for the defending champs, plus 450 for the Cavaliers, who will play Indiana and will dispense of Indiana rather quickly. Then Golden State's 20-1. Minnesota's 20-1. Clippers are 30-1. Denver's 40-1. The Knicks are 50-1. Indiana's 60-1. And Houston is 150-1 to win it all. Now, to win the conference, we want to say, hey, listen, I don't think they're beating OKC. I think they could win the conference. Well, you're probably a little pie in the sky as it is if you think the Knicks are getting to the NBA Finals, because I don't think they are. Eastern Conference, Bet Rivers odds. Celtics are minus 150, which means you lay 150 to win 100. Cavaliers are plus 140, which is actually a good wager. The Knicks are plus 1,600. You're getting 16-1. So for 100, you're getting 1,600 for the Knicks. And Indiana's 20-1. In the West, Oklahoma City's minus 2-1, which means you lay 200 to win 100. Golden State 6-1, Minnesota 6-1, Clippers are 12-1, Denver's 20-1, Houston's 40-1. They all think Oklahoma City is winning. So do I. Before this started, I said I thought the finals would be Cleveland and Oklahoma City. I still think that. You know, I've been on the Cavaliers all year. I said I wouldn't pick a final until those two teams were in it. Let's see what happens when we get there. My heart is with the Cavaliers, but it's going to be a tough series. But like I said, I expect it to be Cleveland and OKC in the final. And I don't think, while I do think Boston could beat Cleveland, I don't think anybody in the West can beat Oklahoma City. I didn't think they could. I wasn't buying into this Laker thing. Okay, I didn't think that anybody could beat OK City. So Knicks 16-1 to win the Eastern Conference, 50-1 to win the title. So if you dream the impossible dream, you can get paid 50-1 on it. And in this series, Celtics 8-1 favorites. That's prohibitive. That's a pretty big favorite to win the series. Now, you probably know that Popovich has suffered a stroke, 76 years old. I think he was going to retire anyway. He hadn't coached all year, but he did suffer a stroke. He'll remain president of the team. He's been with the Spurs forever. He coached them for 29 years, won more games than anybody in the history of the NBA, won 5 titles. Brilliant coach. Also was blessed with great players. And one of the really underrated, unheralded great player of all time in Tim Duncan. So we wish Popovich well. Now, he's become a little controversial because he's been very outspoken about politics, as has Steve Kerr. That's been their want. But put that aside. Whether you agree or don't agree, it doesn't matter. This guy's been a hell of a basketball coach. And he's had a great career. He really has. We'll see you later.